That would be my suggestion. Andy, I mean, you've done a good job so far. I know it's difficult. I mean, it's impossible. You're in an impossible situation.
Can I ask that?
Can we have a draft of something that at least,
Yeah, you
I
can
think
have
you
a draft of
understand
it.
subsection D. I think we're pretty much in agreement with that.
You can have a draft of it if I can ask some questions with some straw votes to see what it would be. I think I've heard something, again, I mean, the trouble is you don't all agree on this. We don't all agree on this. What I have heard you asking me to do is essentially, number one stays the same. About the, no, there's no change to one about just determining the forecast, anticipating, to do the calculations. Number two,
Yes, it was stated that the town administrator, at the direction of the town council.
okay, well, just listen to me, okay, before I listen to the whole thing. What I hear you doing is 3 steps. One is, okay, to determining what's our forecast, okay? 2 is ask the state. 3 is send it on, and although you've been saying send to the financial town meeting, it's actually not. The council only sends it to the budget committee. So those to me are the 3 steps that you're talking about. So step 1 I think is the same. Step 2 would just stay the same except be the majority instead of the supermajority. And then you're going to add a step 3, which is going to say require a supermajority to send it on from, once you've got it back from the state, that's when you are going to require the supermajority before you send it to the budget committee. That's what I've heard. Is that what people have heard?
I struggle with the supermajority. I think that should be a majority vote on the second go around. I think it should be a majority vote to send it. You send it to the budget committee, they incorporate it.
The only reason I disagree with that is because of E in the statute.
Okay, then
Let me answer your question. No, I'm not able to redraft this for you.
Okay, wait a minute, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Our solicitor is reacting to only one person's opinion at this moment. And I think we should just go around, and we should start with Mr. Costa because he said the least, so we should give him a shot. And just say, do you agree with what the solicitor suggests?
Well, he suggested that he can't rewrite it. I don't know whether we agree or not agree.
What he said before he does.
Andy asked to be told if he's going to write something to see whether or not there's a consensus. If there isn't a consensus, then there's no sense of
Tell you what I think.
Yeah, he's taking a shot at the 4/5.
And I think.
I think in the first paragraph, we should insert the words that the town administrator is acting on behalf of the town council. In the second paragraph, I would go with the majority, and the notwithstanding paragraph, I have to disagree with Cecil. I think that paragraph is perfectly okay with the changes that have been suggested, such as including the vote, which is also a majority, not a supermajority, and that it, following the word to exceed the cap, you include your words within the something of paragraph 4D of the Act. Within the something.
Within the limitations of subsection D.
Limitations of 4D of the Act. And I think I could vote for that.
Continuing on with the straw vote, I can live with the first 2 paragraphs as written here with the amendment from the town administrator as expressed by Mr. Tice and his 3 or 4 steps, leaving off the 3rd paragraph starting with notwithstanding. I agree with Mr. Rodrigues that that's where we really get into the tall grass. Once we start trying to figure out all the various possibilities that may happen at the financial meeting, we don't have a big enough computer to calculate how many different variations there could be.
That's a long straw vote.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman.
I think the issue that I see the contention with is whether or not the second vote of the council is a 4/5 or a straight majority. And only because of E in the legislation, which talks about a 4/5 vote, that I say that to move it on has to be the 4/5 vote.
4/5 is an impossible vote. We cannot
Well,
give
that's
4/5 without cutting
Defined as
something.
six of the 7 members of the council.
There's something in the law that says if you're in this predicament, 4/5 of a 7-man body, and 6 is
I
7.
just did the math, and I rounded up.
Thank you. That's
So we wouldn't have to cut anybody in half.
Wisdom of Solomon.
Okay, my straw leads me to believe it's majority vote on both sides. I think 3, nothing, I think that's okay within the, with the additional language that you had mentioned, but I would certainly do it by majority vote.
I'm going to agree with the same. I don't agree with the supermajority at any point, and I think in part with 3, I don't have a problem with it, with the addition of what Andy had suggested within the limitations of Section D. Because it still references that the town meeting, in conjunction with, article of the Home Rule Charter and the Rhode Island Constitution, as it reflects in Title V of the General Law. So it's certainly referenced there. It's not ambiguous as to what he's referring to.
I would go with number 1 with the addition of the town administration under the direction of the council. Number 2, I believe because of subsection E, where it speaks of the 4/5, that it has to be a supermajority in order to send it forward. And in section 3, that with the addition of the language within the limitations of subsection D, and I would be a happy man.
I'm sorry, what was that last part? Keeping 3 with the change?
Yes, within the limitations of subsection D.
And my position is exactly the same as Mr. Roderick's. That is, I believe that with subsection E, by going with a majority, we would clearly be rewriting the statute. Even if there's ambiguity, at least I understand what 4/5 means. And that's what I believe is necessary to send it out to the political body.
And you're agreeing with Mr. Roderick on
Aye,
everything
yes.
else, including paragraph 3? That's what my notes are gonna reflect. Okay.
And he incorporates subsection D, and
Yes.
that's perfectly satisfactory.
Mr. Boland, can I just hear what yours was again?
I have a problem with 3,
Okay.
but 1 and 2, I have no problem with that addition at the request of the council in terms of the,
And the 4/5,
And the
you want the
4/5
4/5
because
on
of,
the...
because of what I'm reading in section, subsection E.
So,
Mr. President. One second.
so we have 4 people who would keep we have 5 people who would keep number 3. But among those 5 people, we do actually, no. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people who would keep number 3. But we don't have among that 4 people who would agree on whether to be a 4/5 or majority.
No, we have 4 people who have indicated clearly. that
4
it's
people who
4/5
agree
vote.
on the 4/5,
Right.
but those 4 people don't agree on number 3. Because Mr. Leonard doesn't want to keep number 3.
That's right.
So he wouldn't vote for that. So that would,
I'm the only one.
No,
Every-
I had a problem with number 3.
right.
Okay, so there's 2. So 5 will keep
So
it
this-
with modifications. With modifications.
But you don't agree on the 4/5 part.
We have
The
4
point
people.
was, is there a consensus that if we weren't talking about 3, that we can have the rest of a policy?
Well, that's what I had thought. But
You can't.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you can delete 3. I'm going along with 3 because a couple of people seem to like 3, but I don't think it serves any purpose at all.